Okay, here we go. This makeup look is funky. Alright, so for today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a very graphic, funky, editorial makeup look in a very simple way. So it looks really hard. You probably saw the thumbnail. It looks really hard, but it's super easy to recreate. So let's just jump into the makeup. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be priming my lids. I'm going to be using my MAC Pro Longwear paint pot in the shade Painterly. So I'm going to be patting that primer all over my lid, from my inner to my outer corner. I really want to make sure that the whole lid area is well primed. And I'm also going to take some of that on my lower lash line. You'll see for this makeup look, we're going to do a lot of erasing. So the base does not really matter at this point because we're going to be using a lot of Q-tips and a lot of micellar water. So next step, we're going to jump directly in with a liquid liner. This is the Rare Beauty liquid liner. You can use any liquid liners you have. And also, if you want, you could always start using a precise brush and a brown eyeshadow to get like the first few lines before starting with a liquid liner. But I'm feeling very rebellious and I really want to take risks. So we are going to be starting with the line that's the closest to the center of the eye, because when we'll clean up the lines, we will want to clean them from the bottom so that it's easier to access, because it's really hard to like remove eyeshadow or liner like from the top. So I'm going to start and just create a dot in the very center of my lid right here. So the first line is going to start there, very closely to the center of the eye. And then I'm going to do a winged liner, but not following my lash line. So it's going to go directly from the lash line towards my brow. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked right now that I was able to create this line because it's really, really straight. But I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker. So now we begin the cleaning up process. So I'm taking a Q-tip with some micellar water. And also a little trick I like to give, like if you want your Q-tip to be more precise, I always like to remove some of the swab. Usually I don't remove that much, but I think I'm going to work with that. There's almost no swab anymore. And I also like to remove the excess micellar water on the back of the hand so that we don't have excess micellar water and so that it doesn't drip everywhere and then you don't have any control of it. But I'm going to start and use that Q-tip to really clean the line up and make it as thin and as precise as possible. So I think I'm pretty happy with the line I have right now. I also tried to keep the thickness of the line the same from the base to the top. Keep in mind that the line you're going to create, like depending on certain angles, it's going to be straight, and other angles it's not going to be straight. For example, if I relax my face, you see that there's a little bit of a fold going on. So the line is going to be disrupted. It's not going to look perfect every single angles. So I'm going to be taking my liner once more and I'm going to be drawing another line right below this one. So starting at the base, right about here, I'm going to draw a line following the one we just created. And what's really nice is that you already have the shape, so you really just have to follow the line you already did. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with what I have. So now I'm going to do all the cleaning up under the line. I'm just going to do the exact same steps, but creating two new lines. Next step, I'm going to take a clean Q-tip with some more micellar water and I'm going to be cutting all these lines at the top, so I want to make them even. So about at the height of my crease, I'm going to drag that Q-tip. I'm just going to clean up some of these ends. I'm going to be taking a JH42 brush with the pink shadow called Hela from the Hela Odenzai palette. I really want to have a pop of color. So I'm taking that shade with my JH42 brush, and I'm going to start very lightly and pack this in the very crease of my eye, in my inner corners. And now with a fluffier brush, this is a Lavish blender brush, I'm just going to go over everything to make that pink shade a little bit more diffused. And going back in with the JH42 brush, I'm going to go in the deeper pink shade, which is called the Goddess. And I'm going to pack that very closely to my crease. And then I'm going to go back with my fluffy brush and just with circular motion blend the edges. And I'm also going to take that shade closer to my inner corners. I'm pretty happy with the blend and the intensity of the shade. So now I'm going to take, once again, another Q-tip with my micellar water, and I'm going to create a cut crease in my inner corners. So I'm just removing and cleaning up that pink shade. And I'm also aiming the cut crease towards the first line on the outer corner because we're going to be connecting the pink and the black liner. Now with a flat brush, I'm going to take some more of my MAC Pro Longueur paint pot, and I'm going to reapply that primer where we just removed the eyeshadow. And I'm also using that primer to clean the line up even more. And now this part is going to be so much easier because we already have the shape of the cut crease. So I'm going to be outlining the cut crease we just created, and I'm going to be connecting it to the first line on the outer corner. And then from the very point of my inner corner, I'm going to do a little U shape connecting the end of the line towards the point of my inner corner. But I am going to take the U shape very far down. Okay, so that line is a little bit too thick, so I am going to be doing some cleaning up. So I removed some of the swab from the Q-tip to have a much more small and precise shape. And I'm going to be using that to clean my inner corners. Okay, here we go. This makeup look is funky. And then I'm going to create 3 little lines under my inner corner, following the line we already have in our inner corner. And like I did on the outer corner, I cleaned up the lines. I'm going to do the same in my inner corner. So I'm going to be applying some mascara. I'm going to be using my Dare Real Magnet Mascara, and I'm going to do a very generous coat of this. So I was doing this eye, and I think I preferred this eye than this one. Like, I don't really like the cut crease that much, so I think I'm just going to remove the line like in my cut crease and do the same thing as this one right here. I'm going to take some more of my MAC Pro Longueur paint pot, and I'm just going to pat that in the center where we removed the pink and the liner. And this time I'm just going to take my fluffy brush with the light pink shade, and I'm just going to lightly blend that all over my inner corner, my inner crease. And then with my JH42 brush, I'm going to go into that deeper pink shade. And I'm really going to pack this shade in the very crease. I want this shade to be very compact. And then with my fluffy brush, I'm just going to go over everything to blend that shade out a little bit more. And I'm just going to go over the black liner in my inner and outer corner, just because we just covered it up with the pink shade. So now let's start working on the complexion. So I really want to retry this right here. This is the Professional Light Primer, and when I used this for the first time in my last video, I was really surprised at how much I liked it. Like, it's a really lightweight texture. It leaves such a nice cooling effect to the skin, and I'm not sure if it was because of the primer, but my skin looked beautiful. I'm just going to heat up the product in my fingers And I'm going to dab this on my T-zone, and where I do tend to have skin texture. It feels so weird. It feels super cold on my skin. For my foundation, I'm going to be taking the Rare Beauty foundation in the shade 140C, and I'll just dab a tiny little bit of that around my face. You really don't need a lot of this foundation. A little goes a very long way. To blend everything in, I'm going to be taking my Rare Beauty foundation brush. Yeah, I think I definitely applied way too much of that primer. My skin looks super dry, like super dry. I think I'm going to remove this. Give me 2 seconds. Alright, so I've re-moisturized my skin, and this time, like my skin feels really dry right now. I think I'm going to be using this to like compensate the dryness. This is the Pretty Filter Glassy Skin Balm Primer from Touch and Soul. If you want to look dewy and hydrated, definitely try this out. This primer is amazing. It really gives such a nice glassy look to the skin. I'm going to take a little bit of that and I'm going to pat that all over my face. Alright, so I'm going to reuse my foundation. I definitely prefer this primer. I look a little bit more hydrated and healthy. For my bronzer, just because our complexion right now is very dewy, I think I want to continue with the cream products. So I'm going to be taking my Rare Beauty bronzer stick in the shade Power Boost, and I'm just going to be grabbing that with a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to apply some of that on the perimeter of my face. I forgot to do my concealer. God damn it. For my concealer, I'll be taking the Born This Way Multi-Use Concealer in the shade Swan. And I'm just going to take the smallest amount under my eye and where I have a little bit of redness. And I'm going to buff this in with my foundation brush. And then I'm just going to take some of my Rare Beauty powder in the shade Light with the Rare Beauty powder brush, and with some of that I'm just going to set certain areas of my face. So for example, my under eyes. I also have a lot of skin texture around my chin, so I want to reduce some of the shine around my chin, and I'm just going to take what's left on the brush and pat that all over my face. And just because I feel like my skin definitely needs some more warmth, I'm going to go into the Heat Spell House Laboratories bronzer and highlight duo, and I'm going to take the shade Savannah with a Real Techniques blush brush. So I'm just taking a little bit of that bronzer and I'm going to pat that on the perimeter of my face. And then I'm going to be extremely generous with the blush. So I'm going to go in the Head Rush House Laboratories blush and highlight duo, and I'm going to take the shade Bouquet with a duo fiber brush, and I'm going to be packing this on my cheeks. I really want to apply a lot because I'm going to be applying some pink under my eye, and it's going to blend in with the cheeks. Just to give some more structure to my face, I'm just going to fill in my brows really quickly. So I'll be using the Precisely My Brow pencil in the shade 3, and I'll be setting my brows in place using the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. Next, I'm going to take the light pink shade with my JH40 brush, and I'm going to be blending this on my lower lash line right underneath the last line. And then with the fluffier brush, I'm going to blend that really far under my eye. And this shade is going to blend in with my blush. So with a little bit more blush, I'm going to go over it and blend both together. And now with the deeper pink shade in my JH40 brush, I'm going to be blending that very closely to the line. Now I'm just going to go over some of the lines with the black liner just because we covered them up with the pink. And in some areas I'm also going to take a little bit of my concealer with a very precise brush, and I'm just going to clean some areas. Okay, so we're almost done. Next, I really want to retry that trick that I did in my last video where I use this brown liner as kind of a contour for my lips. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Endless Cacao. And I'm going to be using that under my lip right here to really give the illusion of a fuller lip. And I'm going to blend it with my finger going downwards. And I'm also going to do the same on my Cupid's bow. I'm going to be taking, this is the Rare Beauty Matte Lip Cream in the shade Motivate. And I'm going to be placing that in the center of my lips. Yeah, this is definitely too coral for this look. So I'm just going to be blending this out with my finger. And instead I'm going to be taking the Cloud Lab Lip Clay Matte Lipstick in the shade Cactus Flower from Cactus, which is a bright pink shade. And I'll be placing that in the center of my lips. And with a fluffy brush, I'm just going to buff that shade out. And I almost forgot to do my highlight. So for my highlight, I'm going to be taking the Norn's Odin's Eye highlight in the shade Web of Destiny, which is a really nice pink golden shade. I'll take that with a small BH Cosmetics highlight brush, and I'm going to pat that on the very high points of my cheeks. All right, everyone, so here we have it. This is the finished look, and let me just say really quickly, I'm obsessed. It's not complicated to do. You really just have to take your time, do little lines at a time, and do a lot of cleaning up. This makeup look is mostly cleaning up. It does take a little bit of time, but the Q-tip tricks and the cleaning up with the micellar water, it really does save a lot of time. So for today's secret emoji, put the pink flower in the comment section down below because, you know, there's a lot of pink on my face right now. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. You can also subscribe to my channel. I put up new videos every single Mondays, so subscribe so that you don't miss any of the Makeup Mondays. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.